MVP is a term you've probably heard thrown around quite a lot. But what does it actually mean? In this video, I will explain the basics of an MVP and how to use it to your advantage in your business. Hi, I'm Biro, co-founder at Jexo, where we make work management effortless, fun, and accessible to everyone through education tools and awesome products. In this YouTube series, we talk about popular project management concepts, what they mean, and how, when, and why you should use them in your projects. Now, in this video, we'll be discussing MVP, or minimum viable product. It's a critical concept in product development that's been used by many companies you're most likely to know. So let's dive into the topic, and don't forget to hit that subscribe bell so you can get notified of the next video in our project management series. So MVP is a term coined back in 2001, made popular by people like Steve Blank and Eric Ries. It refers to the smallest number of features that you can launch to test whether people want your product. The goal of an MVP is to get users' feedback as quickly as possible so that you can make changes and improve your product. You don't want to spend too much time building features no one will wind up using. Facebook, Dropbox, and Spotify followed a similar MVP strategy. They started by creating a basic version of their product, and after that, they got feedback from users to see if there was a demand for it. Most of us know the story of Facebook and how it started as a website for college students. The first version of the site was elementary. It allowed users to create profiles and friends to post messages to each other. But the founders of Facebook were able to get feedback from users early on and improve the product based on the feedback. Similarly, Dropbox started as a simple file sharing tool. The first version allowed users to share files with other people by emailing them a link. Once the founders had generated enough interest in the product, they then adjusted accordingly while developing the product. And finally, Spotify started as a desktop application that allowed users to listen to music online. When the founders saw interest in their product, they made it better to satisfy their target market. To build an MVP, you'll need to see what key features are needed and focus on making those first. After that, you can add more features based on the feedback you get from users. Simple. An MVP can be built in several ways. The most common of them is software development. You can use online tools like Balsamiq or Mockflow to create low-fidelity wireframes that you can share with your team for feedback, of course. You can also use prototyping tools like InVision to create high-fidelity prototypes and get feedback from your users. Building an MVP with software can be tricky. You may want to make sure that you're including the most important features while making your product usable. You also want to be able to update your product quickly as you figure out what your customers really want. I suggest you use a low-code or no-code platform where you can build an MVP without having to spend much time coding, and also where you'll be able to update things quickly. Keep the following tips in mind when creating an MVP. Keep it simple, make sure the core functionality works well, get feedback from users early and often, and iterate based on that feedback. You could find yourself dealing with a couple of issues when it comes to MVPs, so make sure to prepare ahead of time. In general, an MVP will be challenging in the early stages of the product lifecycle while we're still in development, but also in the later stages around the launch time. Creating an MVP can be tricky. After all, you want to build the smallest possible product to showcase the core of your bigger product. You also want to make sure it's functional and meets the needs of your target user. Also, make sure you're able to quickly and efficiently test your MVP with users. You can get the feedback you need to further validate your product. When launching an MVP, you may have to face issues like not having enough funding to complete the project, or time to create a working prototype, or not having a clear target market. You also need to make sure you have a clear goal for your MVP, one that you can communicate to your team. An MVP, or a minimal viable product, is a critical concept in the lean startup movement. It's a simple version of your product that you can launch to get feedback from your customers. MVPs are amazing because they allow you to test your assumption about your product without having to spend a lot of time and money on development. If your MVP fails to generate customer interest, you'll know that you need to pivot your product strategy. But if it succeeds, you can start building on that success by adding new features and improving the product. So if you're thinking about starting a new business or launching a new product, an MVP is something you should be considering. It can help you focus on what's important and avoid wasting time and money on product no one wants. And by using an MVP, you can improve your chances of success by getting feedback from your customers about what they like and don't like about the product. I hope this helped clear things out. Thanks for watching the video, and make sure to check out our other project management content here on our YouTube channel while you're here. See you in the next one.